Hey, it's time for Bob's Baseball Breakdown, but I've got a guess. Somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, somebody who has played at this level, who can correct me when I say all of the things that everybody complains about that are wrong.
That's true. Okay, guys. The Mariners were 10 games under 500 on June 21st. They're now sitting in a playoff spot. What's been the big difference?
All right, well, when you look at some of the numbers, I think you look at this two ways. Number one, you can look at the numbers and say, all right, the starting pitching has been better. It was really good, actually, when you look at the month previous to that, when you go from mid-May into mid-June, you kind of look at that and say, well, it's a little bit better. It's not like this crazy turnaround. But the bullpen has definitely turned around. You're talking like a 4.8, 4.9 ERA down to a sub-2. The bullpen has been amazing. The offense, honestly, has kind of been the same when you look at some of the broader numbers. But I really think the difference has been some of the individuals up and down the lineup. Cal Raleigh has been a huge difference. Not just when you look at the batting average, obviously that's the whole picture from the start of the year, but just doing some of the little things. Some of the power numbers have come back. The bottom part of the order has been a huge upgrade. So again, as a big picture, you look at the whole thing and you think to yourself, well, offense is kind of the same. But when you look at some of the individuals, Jesse Winker, another one. So you really have to pinpoint those guys for sure.
Anybody want to go on a rant about Ty France and Logan Gilbert not being all-stars?
I think we all will. I don't know how you justify that. This is the guy that came in second in fan voting. Vlad got the vote. Congratulations. The guy that came in second place does not get voted onto the team. They found other more suitable candidates, and we can go through every stat and say, well, he's number one in this one and number two in this one. And he's if he's not the best first baseman in the American League, he's one of the best. He's the top 2 or 3. He's phenomenal defensively. He's phenomenal offensively. He has been far and away the most consistent, best hitter on this team, and he seemed like the most obvious pick. The problem I have, Ryan, is that based on the rules and how the voting goes, it really wasn't Major League Baseball that ignored him. It was his peers, because the players vote for the reserves at each position.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I've been in the clubhouse where you get the paper. I'm sure it's different now. I'm sure it's electronic now, but you just get the paper and you basically have to fill it out. You sit there and you glance through like, okay, I'll contribute to this. I don't know what half the league is doing. If I'm playing on the East Coast and the Seattle Mariners are playing at 10 o'clock at night, and I'm in the National League, I don't know what Ty France is up to. I really don't. I may have seen him pop up on MLB Network or on social media or something like that, but I don't quite know. And I've just played a Rise or one of these other characters, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, click, that'll do me, because I'll just kind of fill in the blank. So I think that has been a little bit of a flaw in the system, this weird phase one where the fans get to vote. And like you said, Bob, the fact that this guy was number 2 in voting, and he's sitting at home on the sidelines and not getting to play in the All-Star game is insane. And then on top of that, then all of a sudden you go to this phase 2 situation, then you have the whole thing. It's a little bit of a flawed system. They tried to correct it. They wanted to be more of a peer-to-peer type voting in and create that thing, but I don't think that's the best way to do it. On top of that too, the guy who essentially beat him at the first base where it says first baseman reserves is a guy who's literally played there 40% of his time. He's literally DH, and they flip-flop him. They put him over to first base to give other guys a spell. So that, to me, I think, biggest snub 100% on that American League roster.
Ryan, you're a pitching guy, so what was going through your head on Saturday when the Mariners sent out Robbie Ray, then Matt Brash, then Andres Munoz?
Yeah, that's a nice little combination. I will say I was pretty. I'm not going to say I was surprised by Matt Brash, but man, that was fun to watch. Robbie Ray has been on an absolute tear. He is a different dude to what we saw a month ago. He simply is. There's a weight off his shoulders. He is settled in. He is going to go on this run for a long time. But then you mentioned Matt Brash coming in. I was a little worried about what we're going to see. Was the command going to be there? Not so much the command like you saw him going to throw balls off the backstop, but getting the 2 strikes. Was he going to give up a couple foul balls like we saw and then all of a sudden start pitching away from contact? He didn't. He stayed on the attack. He had that good tempo. He was filthy, hitting triple digits. And then you mentioned Andres Munoz, man. I keep saying this all the time. Barely thrown 50 innings in the big leagues. I mean, that's insane. And this guy just has this kind of presence. And again, everyone says, well, he throws 100. He should. No. This guy went through a situation early on where he just lost all confidence in that fastball. He was a wreck. He was throwing close to 70% sliders because he didn't want to throw a fastball in big counts. He's got that fastball back, forget about it. And the confidence as well, forget it.
Bob, which young phenoms that you've watched before do you think of when you're watching Julio?
A-Rod. He's got a lot of A-Rod to him. He said as much. That's his hero. He's got some of his mannerisms up there at the plate as he puts he puts his right foot in the box. He'll look at the barrel of his bat, and the face he makes every time he does that is directly from A-Rod, if you pay close attention. Yeah. So he's just got a lot of, it's kind of the way he hops into the box and kind of swishes the dirt left to right. There's just, his mannerisms are very much like that. Right-handed hitter, obviously. Just a phenomenal talent. But yeah, he really, really, and I think part of it is that he has said it over and over, that A-Rod is his hero and all of that. But you really see it. Honestly, if you truly paid attention to A-Rod and his mannerisms and how he approached his at-bats, that's what I see with Julio.
Okay, Ryan, you go first on this. This is the last question. Give us a name you want to see Jerry Dipoto add before the trade deadline.
Okay, I think the two biggest needs, and you might scratch your head at this one, but starting pitching is going to be the biggest need. On the pitching side of things, on the defensive side of things, I think Adam Frazier is someone who, you know what, you may have to start looking elsewhere, I think. But I'm going to stick with the pitching. There's a couple of names that pop up to me which are interesting. One is Martin Perez with the Texas Rangers. He has had a massive bounce back year. He has playoff experience. He's pitched deep into a 6-month season. They're going to need to fill some of the gaps with Logan Gilbert and especially George Kirby, who are going to start to be spaced out a little bit. You can't afford to have all of a sudden a 6-man rotation or a bullpen day if you are going to be for real in this hunt. So that Martin Perez is one. Matt Moore is another one. He's another guy. He was a starting pitcher. He's transitioned to the bullpen, but he's a guy that could go you 3 or 4 innings as well. So if you are going to do these bullpen days, if that's the plan, he's a cheap option and you're not going to have to give up a whole lot. And one more too, Madison Bumgarner, man. I would love to see him. He's had a bounce back year as well. 3.5, 3.6 ERA, looks really good, 91 innings, been rock solid. Pitched in the postseason, he's won the World Series. They need some playoff experience down the stretch.
I'll go offense, and I'll go with a guy that I thought they might target in the offseason. There were rumors of it. Ryan Reynolds from the Pittsburgh Pirates, an on-base guy who's got a little pop. I understand you've got a glut of outfielders if everybody's healthy, if Haniger comes back and Lewis comes back. Yeah, it certainly adds to it, Taylor Trammell as well. So I get that part of it, so maybe he's not as logical. But I like what he brings offensively. Drury, the guy from the Reds. I mean, the Reds are offloading everybody. So Brandon Drury is a guy that the internet is talking about. Another guy with some pop that can play probably a better second base than Adam Frazier's been playing, because you've been getting a little less than you bargained for offensively and defensively with Adam Frazier. So that seems to be the most obvious spot to address if you're just looking by position. But just give me some offense. I agree with Ryan. At some point, I don't think you can count on everybody staying healthy and making every start throughout the entire season. It's just not realistic. So you're going to need that depth. So I would love to see him add to the pitching depth in terms of the starting rotation, but bring in some offense and bring it into second base if you can.